Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about, you probably guessed what we're going to talk about from the title of the video, it's so obvious. So before diving deep into today's video, I want to make two announcements. Um, and the first one, why did I change the YouTube channel's name to Varieties instead of Different English? We're going to answer this question first. Like, after a bit of thought and a bit of arguable conversations with myself, I discovered that I'm not the best person to talk about this. And when I started making these videos, I thought that I'm going to teach people something different from textbooks. So I named the channel Different English. But after some videos, after going forward in the content, I discovered that there are a lot of people out there who are making better quality videos and pretty high quality videos, to be honest, and they are qualified teachers. So I'm not in a position to compete these people. I'm not in a position to teach you guys and delude you that I'm a professional of this and talking like a teacher and stuff. So I wanted to change the name of the channel into something that is more descriptive to the content. Instead of being fully dedicated to talking about English stuff, I'm just going to be talking about anything and everything that comes to my head. Not literally everything, because that would be too much waste of time, but I'm going to be talking about the important thoughts that pops up into my head. Like, there's a saying that the brain is a machine for creating thoughts, but it's not a machine for keeping them. So in order to keep these thoughts, and maybe I'm going to go back for them in the future, I'm going to capture them in a video like this. So that I found that this is a more descriptive name for the channel instead of Different English. Now it's Varieties. And if you have any other proposal for the name of the channel, please just hit me with them in the comments down below. And that is the first announcement that I wanted to make before getting into the video. And the second one is my horrible experience with talking to the camera. Guys, it's a pain. It's so painful talking to the camera. Why should I say this? Because talking to the camera, you are being 100% the contributor in the conversation. It's like you're 100% talking all the time, and you push yourself not to pause, and you're flogging yourself, literally flogging yourself if you're pausing, because you want to attract the viewer. You don't want to make them boring, especially in today's world, because a lot of people are just, are going to watch a couple of videos in a couple of seconds on TikTok or in YouTube Shorts or any other short videos platforms. And that is so painful to try to attract someone 100% of the time. So, and talking to the camera, getting back to my point, is you're contributing, like, in the conversation 100%. And if not 100%, at least 90%. If you're giving yourself this break of a pause of 2 seconds or something, you are going to be preparing in that pause for what you're going to say next. So it's totally painful. So guys, if you watch any YouTubers that convey the feeling that they're not talking to the camera, but they're talking to you and they're looking at your eyes, they're making jokes, they make you laugh, you have to be appreciative for those types of YouTubers. And definitely give them a like, hit them with a like, comment and thank them for that content if it's precious. Because I know what they go through. Especially, my videos aren't the best. Like, my videos are not that high quality videos, but some people have, conversations with themselves. Like when he talks to himself in the video, and he creates two different videos and he puts them in a way that are going to create this seamlessness in the conversation that he's going to make you feel that he's really talking to a copy of himself in real life. So if you follow anybody who's making you feel that they're talking to you and not to the camera, please appreciate them with a comment, a good nice comment, and a like. A like is not gonna harm you. So after making those two announcements, I want to go deep into today's topic, which is going to be totally talking about, or mainly talking about the world hunger. Okay, why did I pick this topic in the first place? I picked it up because I was actually having those thoughts in my free time when I just, lying in my bed or just walking in the roads. I thought that a lot of people suffer from hunger. And on the other hand, some people live a luxury, exaggerated luxury life. And that is not fair. So before we dive deep more into the video into the topic, there's a saying that I just wanted to say before diving in. To know that all of this is because of us. All of this is because of the humankind, not God. There's a saying that I wanted to ask God, what does he allow hunger, poverty, and war in the world? That he might ask me the same question. So the whole thing is because of us, not because of God. For those religious people who have any concerns about why God allows hunger, poverty, you have to ask that question to you and to your fellow human beings, not to God. So with that being said, let's continue talking about the other stuff. If I want to define the word or the title, the world hunger crisis, we're going to try to define it word by word. First of all, the word world. When somebody talking about the world, the first thing that comes to your head is the globe, or the planet Earth, or everything in general, because you're talking about the world, everything. The second word is the word hunger. I'm going to come back to this word and define it more deeply because it needs a bit of more deep defining for the word. So I'm going to move to the next word, which is the word crisis. And the word crisis is a word that describes the sufferer. When you're talking about the hunger crisis, when you're talking about the financial crises, like all of these things are things that people suffer from. So getting back to the word hunger, why did I delay explaining and defining this word? Because it needs a little bit more further explanation. So for me, like if you want to define this word by using some words like a dictionary, you're going to define it something like the next. You're going to say that it's a state when the body lacks food and it needs to be filled in order to feel back refreshed. So that is the definition of words. And it's actually a proper definition and no argues about it. So if you want to talk about the types of hunger, like is there any types for hunger? Like is that something that you can break down into so many components or into so many types that we can talk about each one in further? Actually, that is from my own perspective. No scientific proofs, no scientific talks. It's just all of my head. So the first type of hunger, I have actually classified hunger into three types. The first one is the physical hunger. The second one is the mental hunger. And the third one is the spiritual hunger. What do I mean by each one? For the second two categories, we're going to delay them for now because it's not all about our today's video. So maybe we can make a separate video on both of them. But for now, we're going to talk about the first category, which is the physical hunger. And probably this is the only type that comes to your head whenever you talk about hunger. Whenever you talk about hunger, you think of this physical state when you feel weak, when you feel less food inside your body, when you feel less energy. So the physical hunger refers to the lack of the food. And I can go further and break it down into two other types. Like the physical hunger itself, you can classify it into two different types. A long-term hunger, or you can be more specific and say a long-term physical hunger and a short-term physical hunger. What do I mean by both of them? Like, why short-term physical hunger and why long-term physical hunger? The first one, long-term physical hunger, in this situation, in this type of hunger, you don't actually know when the next meal is. Like, you're eating something now, you feel appreciative to God, you feel grateful to God, you feel fulfilled, but you don't actually know, and you have a lot of concerns about the future meal. You don't know, like, if you had breakfast on a specific day, you don't know if you are actually going to find enough food to fulfill your hunger for the next meal, which is lunch. And if you have lunch, same. You don't know when it's going to be dinner. And that is what I call the long-term hunger. You eat something now, but you don't actually know when the next meal is. The second type, the short-term hunger, or the short-term physical hunger. I think a big portion of the world experience this. Like, in general, we have 3 meals throughout the day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe you have your breakfast at something like 7 a.m. or something, and you have your lunch at maybe 2 p.m., and there's a gap in between, which you're going to function on something. You're going to do something. You're going to do mental, physical, anything that is going to consume the energy that you were fueled with in the first meal of the day, which is breakfast. After having breakfast, till all the way to lunch, you might feel hungry and you might not. In case that you feel hungry, that's what I call the short-term physical hunger. But in this case, you know when are you going to have your next meal. You're pretty assured that you're going to have a next meal, that there's a next meal in your fridge. But in the other type, you have nothing in the fridge. Like, you have nothing in the fridge if you even have a fridge. So that is the difference between the long-term and the short-term physical hunger. Let's move on to the next one. Why this problem of, because we're going to be talking in specific about the long-term physical hunger, because this is what the problem is all about, that you don't know when the next meal is. So why the problem standing in the first place? Like, why this problem is around? Why the world is suffering from this crisis? So it relies and it depends on so many factors. There are so many reasons and factors for this problem. The first one, from my own perspective, and you can judge me, by the way, in the comments if you want, you can argue, and I'm very open for arguments, is the classification of the world into 3 types. You have first world countries, you have second world countries, you have third world countries. And I hate this classification simply because you're putting human beings into different categories, even though we have the same feelings, we have the same types of bodies, we have the same everything, almost everything. So this classification I hate it because it creates this racism between human beings, or among human beings. So from my own perspective, it's better to terminate this classification and create one seamless world that there is no racism, there is no I'm different, I'm better than you, you're worse than me. We need to eliminate all of these concepts, that I'm better, you're worse. No, we're one, we're human beings. So that is the first one. Like the first world countries are going to have more luxurious life, it's going to have more food, it's going to have a better prosperity life. But for the second two categories, the second and the third world countries, the more you go down, the worse the circumstances are and the worse the life conditions are. So for the third one, we're going to be talking specifically about this one because it's the worst, and we're going to try to pick up the worst things about the problem and talk about. Like, they suffer. They literally suffer. If you look at any African or South African countries, malnutrition is so common. Stunned, like, for somebody to be stunted is so common. Like, they literally suffer. Even water, that is the main source of life, they walk kilometers, literally kilometers, and dig for meters deep down in the land to find a sip of water or a sip of good water to drink. So for those countries, why not take from the first world countries and be fellow human beings, even if we don't have the same faith, even if we don't have the same beliefs, even if we don't have the same religion? That doesn't mean that I can't help you in humanity. So in those South African countries specifically, there's a big pain of looking for food. There's a big lack of looking for food. And water that is supposed to be for everyone, some countries prohibit or inhibit some other people to control them forcibly. They inhibit water and they restrict drinking water except by their own permission. So is that fair? Prohibiting this prohibition of water and food, is that fair? To use your fellow human beings as slaves? If they have a different skin color, if they have a different hair type, if they have a different looking, that doesn't mean that you can slave them. That doesn't mean that you have the right to slave them. I feel that the video is going so dark, but this is truth. And that is the first reason that people or scientists classify people into different types. And that is not right at all to do. One of the second reasons is, it's actually related to the first one, for the first world countries to consume big, like, they consume a lot of food. If you look at any of the American restaurants, you're gonna find that the buckets or the bowls of the foods that they order, it's so big, it's so exaggeratedly big. Like, I think whoever created these buckets of foods, his eyes or their eyes were definitely bigger than their stomach. And he didn't care about other people who have no food at all. Okay, and by the way, if you're one of those country's citizens and you go to one of those restaurants, which you definitely did, you order a bucket of, I don't know, chickens, a bucket of chicken, for instance, and you're gonna eat it. But you discover that you can't consume all of it. What do? Usually the workers of that restaurant, they take the remaining amount of food that you couldn't consume, that you couldn't eat, and they're gonna throw it into the garbage. Like, that is pathetically painful. Like, it's really painful. And they want somebody to siren them and to tell them, like, that is not fair. And by the way, some people say that the world hunger the world hunger crisis is caused by the lack of food in the world. That is not true at all. Like, if you put the population of Earth on a scale, and on the other hand, you put the material that we have on Earth from animals, veggies, fruits, crops, everything, you are going to find that they perfectly align. If not, the material that you have is more than the population that you have. So having excuses with these delusional scientific statistics It's not true. It's not right. So those are some of the reasons that I think are the main or the core or the resource of hunger in the world. Then how can we solve them? Instead of talking negatively about them, we gotta propose some solutions. We gotta find some solutions together. And more importantly, we gotta implement those solutions. Instead of talking theoretically, we have to action. We have to do actions. We have to act practically. No more theories. We have to act. So I found no better solution than the Prophet's solution. When he, peace be upon him, when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Nothing is worse than a person who fills his stomach. It should be enough for the son of Adam to have a few bites to satisfy his hunger. If he wishes more, it should be 1/3 for his food, 1/3 for his liquids, and 1/3 for his breath." Like, there is no better solution than this. You're gonna find a lot of people in the United States, specifically, they eat until, not everybody, but I'm talking about the majority. You're gonna find people, not just in the United States, by the way, but people think that the more they eat, the better they function. But it's actually the other way around. Like, the more you eat, the less you function. And that is, unfortunately, like, our bodies are designed to eat very few or very little amounts of food. Like, for those who are foodies and they make content and they dedicate lives about eating food, like, our bodies are designed to survive with very little bites of food. How did I know this? Like just by reading the hadith, and it's authentic hadith, by the way. Like, that is not for everybody. Like, I'm Muslim and I totally believe in this faith. It's not for everybody. Like, if an atheist listening to or watching to this video, they have nothing to do with hadiths and the Prophet's saying. So you gotta prove it first to them. Like, I guarantee that you eat bites for every meal, you're gonna be able to survive. You're not gonna die, I guarantee. Because that is of my own experience. I have tried that myself. I'm eating bites now. And there is no pain. And I actually discovered that whenever my lunch in the past, I was having like a big portion of food, or a big amount of food. And after that, I feel sluggish. I'm not functioning as fast as before lunch, because my body is gonna transfer this amount of energy to the stomach to be able to digest the amount of food that you got into your body. Because basically you have a limited amount of energy per day. And if you consume it just for digesting, then your body is not going to function the way that you wish. So, in order to solve this problem, just give it a try. I'll give you, it's not fair to evaluate something or to make your own assumptions about something before trying it. And even if you try it, you gotta try it for a fair amount of time. Like, you're not gonna try it for one day and say that it didn't work, because of course it didn't work, because your body got adapted to the amount of food that you gave it in the past. So you gotta try it for a fair amount of time, like for at least 1 week, and I guarantee you're gonna love it. You're gonna love the results of this experiment. So the hadith again of the Prophet, when he peace be upon him, said, "Nothing is worse than a person who fills his stomach. It should be enough for the son of Adam to have a few bites to satisfy his hunger. If he wishes more, it should be 1/3 for his food, 1/3 for his liquids, and 1/3 for his breath." Like at maximum, the maximum amount of food that you have to get into your body in order to be able to survive should be 1/3 of the room available in the stomach. So that is the solution. And I just want to say that any of what I said is not scientifically proven, except the hadith part, because I have tried it myself and I think it's scientifically proven that your body needs bites of foods to be able to function and to survive throughout the day. But everything else, like the classifications, my perspectives, or my reasons for this hunger crisis, none of them is scientifically said, and I have tried to do it myself and to classify the types of hunger. And by the way, if you want me to talk about the spiritual and the mental types, just let me know in the comments down below. And I think that is a wrap. And thanks so much for watching this video till the very end. And if you are one of the very few people that got to this point, thumbs up, please. And let me know in the comments down below. Bye.